Welcome back to Creating Cooperative Kids. I'm your host, Bill Corbett. Some days parenting can be fun, but all too often it's stressful, busy schedules, multiple activities, and so much to get done keeps parents hopping and oftentimes stressed out. But my next guest says it doesn't have to be that way. Virginia Ann Griffiths is a parent, time, and stress management coach who helps caregivers make sense out of the chaos of busy family lives. She's a happily married mother of 4 children and holds a degree in early childhood education. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I work with parents on a regular basis, and you need to be everywhere because I see two kinds of stress. It's the space stress, and organizers are great with helping them with that, but it's the time stress, you know, and I'm a person that works with them on discipline and behavior. But I hope you're busy, and if you're not, we got to talk about getting you busier with the work that you're doing. So, first of all, what's going on with families? Why does it seem to be in chaos?
Many families work multiple jobs. That's like the biggest thing that I think stands in the way of having enough time to spend at home with their children.
And so with all that stuff that's going on, then it's difficult for them to pay attention to what's going on with their kids, right?
It is, and it also stands in the way of having a nice, smooth running home because your mind is not necessarily at home. It is at work or at the grocery store or at the doctor's. So you can't really focus on your kids if your minds aren't there.
How did you get into this line of work?
Well, I started in early childhood education. I worked very closely with children and parents, and I saw them running in and out of the child care center or the school, picking up their kids. Kids were coming in forgetting things, and not even the kids forgetting because they're young and they're not responsible necessarily for themselves. And I have 4 children of my own. I also fostered a couple children. So yes. So that was a big awakening for me when I brought in some kids that weren't my own. So I went with my passion because I also was the go-to person for my friends' friends, and I just decided that this is the route I wanted to take. Let me figure out how to first make my house run smoothly, and then I can help the rest of the world.
So you've been successful with that. Your home is running a little smoother.
My home runs pretty well.
Is that
actually.
right?
Yes, it does. I use a lot of different methods to keep everybody in a good place as far as knowing what they have to do, when they have to do it, and being able to get out of the house on time because that's like a major obstacle for parents.
So what kind of suggestions do you have for parents to try to make things a little more calm at home?
The biggest one is breathing. You really need to remember to breathe. It gives you a lot of mental clarity, so when you are feeling pressure from all the different activities that are going on, you kind of tend to want to go to yelling maybe, or not breathing basically, so that really slows you down a little bit. So if you can take some time to take quite a few deep breaths before you embark on whatever is next, that will help you move forward.
You know, that tip in itself is gold because I think we take so much for granted with breathing, and people don't do it. They don't do it enough. In fact, there is physiological proof that the brain, right? The brain functions differently. Our body functions differently when we actually breathe deeply. But unfortunately, the majority of people are all walking around shallow breathing, right?
Absolutely. I think because we're actually not thinking about the fact that we're not breathing. You have conditioned yourself to hold your breath through stressful situations, thinking that's going to help pass the time by faster or get you through it. And in fact, really, I have actually learned through my own experience, through talking and teaching some of the strategies that I have with other parents, that breathing is definitely what gets you through it.
So do you have actual practices that you use with moms? Okay, so my next question is, do you do this like at moms groups and you have like breathing exercises and stuff?
Absolutely. Any coaching session that I provide or work with in a group, I start the session off with a breathing exercise.
Do you do that when the kids are running around or when the moms are alone?
I have a different strategy for when the kids are running around. And actually it's a strategy that incorporates the kids, and that kind of makes it fun for them, so they stop running.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so while we're talking about that, distraction. So you have kids that are easily distracted, and they see something shiny, and then they're off here and off there. Do you have suggestions for parents on those kinds of kids?
I do. I have my very own precious distracted child. He is 7 years old, and I designed a card for him because he needs something in his hand to keep him focused. Otherwise, the minute he has gone upstairs to go do whatever task it is I sent him to do, whatever shiny object was in that area has totally taken him away from whatever he was supposed to do. So I have this card. Actually, I have several cards designed for this. And what it does is it's a rundown of what his responsibilities are. And in big red letters at the top of it is no electronics until everything is completed, because that was the big shiny object.
I might need those cards from you. I don't know, because I'll go after one thing and it's like that. What's that phrase about? I went into the swamp to drain it, but I was confronted with the alligators and forgot what I came here for.
I have parent cards too, actually.
Parent cards, good. All right. So what kind of things? I think one of the things that we're missing out, the families are missing out, is family time, bonding as a family. So what kind of suggestions do you have for bringing back the bond with families?
So the most basic responsibilities that as a parent you are responsible for, you can have your children help you with, and that is like such a great bonding experience for you. Let's start with cooking dinner. There is nothing wrong with having a child standing by your side helping you cook dinner. You can give them the simplest thing, maybe setting the table. You can conversate while you're setting the table. They could be sitting next to you chopping something, helping you wash vegetables. It also gives them the skill of cooking for the future. That's my biggest tip.
What about when they're not at home?
When they're not at home, I send little notes in their lunch boxes or maybe in the bottom of their backpack to kind of connect with them. So I've also suggested that to parents.
Yeah, I saw a great product one time. It's called Lunch Mail, and there's little cards and things that are pre-written, but you can put. But there's nothing better than the handwritten notes, because we've lost the value of the handwritten note with emails and cards that are written ready-made and that kind of thing. So that's great. What other suggestions do you have for parents? Because you're in the short time together, it's really difficult to help parents in a lot of different areas. But what other suggestions do you have?
So I also came up with another idea of like one of your responsibilities in your house is cleaning your house. And you really can't get away from that. So I sat down and I really thought hard about it, and I came up with this idea of family responsibility. And when your kids are young, you really have to walk by their side to help them get through those responsibilities. Yet another great bonding experience. My older children, they also have responsibilities. And sometimes they still need, me to be there for them. But we come together first and talk about what responsibilities they want to do for that day. And we also spend time doing that. One of the things that I like is what you said about having the card in hand. Have you ever seen the visual schedules? You can make them put little objects so children see the sequence of events of things to do. Actually, I have not seen that.
You haven't?
No.
It's really cool because children are especially young children, they get so lost in the moment. They think this activity I'm doing is what I'm going to do for the next 7 years. Why are you making me do something else? So when they set them up in a sequence, they know, oh, this is what's going to happen after this and after that. So I think that's pretty helpful. What about? Do you have any suggestions? We only have another minute to go, but
sure.
Suggestions for like when mom's at like the grocery store or at the park or somewhere out away from home and she's kind of stressed.
For her personal ability to calm down and just regain control? Yeah. Okay. So those are the breathing exercises that I bring to the table through the program. And really, it is intentional breathing. You have to practice these strategies when you're not stressed in order for them to become your strategies when you are stressed.
Have you found that you have greater success when you can work with both parents rather than one?
Yes. Yes, I have. I've worked with quite a few couples, and it's very interesting because they're definitely on different pages, but by the time we're at the end of our program, they seem to have found a way to agree on many more things than they did when they started.
So if they want to find more information on you, we showed your website on the screen, and they can go to your website and get more information and contact you directly from there. And do you do individual family coaching? Do you do group workshops? Yes and yes?
I do both, yes.
You do?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, what you do is invaluable, and families definitely need to find ways to de-stress themselves, especially the parents, because I really believe that the stress in parents transmits down to the children.
Absolutely.
And if you have misbehaving children, you might have to look in the mirror first to see that that's where it came from, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and helping parents with that issue. And I wish you all the luck with what you're doing, working with families.
Thank you.
24 million people of all ages and genders suffer from an eating disorder in this country, including children. Following the break, we'll meet an expert with advice for parents on how to prevent eating disorders in girls and young women. We'll meet her and learn more about this issue when we return from a short break.